with us, joining us this morning is David Strong. He's a board member and secretary of Friends of the Town Hall, the Plainfield Town Hall Opera House. And David Strong, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Thanks for having me here.
And wanted to ask you a little bit about some events in recent years where there's been a lot of work underway to restore the Town Hall and Opera House. Tell us what's been going on.
Well, it was built 170 years ago, originally as a Universalist church. That went out of business about 105 years ago, and they turned it into a opera house and town hall, and it happened to be right next door to a hotel, and people would come up to Plainfield on the train and stay at the hotel and visit the opera house, and locals produced a lot of shows there. Then in about 1956, it became the town clerk's office. And it was the town clerk's office for 50 years. And then the town clerk moved out in 2008 down into the lower village. And it became just a regular old town hall. It was closed in 2012 because of structural problems and mold. And the community decided to reinvest in it. And we, over the course of 4 years, raised over $450,000 to renovate the building, convert the lower level into a lobby, and put in a handicap bathroom and a kitchen, warming kitchen, other improvements so that it would be a welcoming performance space. And that was finished in 2017, and we put a new roof on. We just painted it yellow. People might have noticed it's, if they drive by on the corner of right there at the sharp curve on Route 2, it has a nice new color to it. And it's been back in business now for 3 years. So
wow, that's quite an accomplishment to get that in then fairly quickly. If 3 years, sounds like it was closed in 2012 and reopened in 2015. So it appears that folks here right off the bat knew we were going to be working on this and getting it.
Yeah, there was a debate because it has a lot of other issues. The access is a big issue. Route 2's gotten busier and busier, and it was hard for people to get across the street. Some people wanted to invest in a new community facility, but the vast majority of people supported fixing up the historic building and making it come alive again.
There was a little back and forth, I guess, from what Ross Sneed, the chair of the select board, was telling me over the parking issue across the street there. Tell us what's been going on that.
Well, actually, there are two things. I was on the select board in Plainfield from 2010 to 2016, and we addressed the crossing safety problem. We were able to get a grant from VTrans to put in a crosswalk and a sidewalk. That should go in next year or 2020 at the latest. It's going to feature an extension of the bridge over the Winooski on the south side, so there's going to be a pedestrian area there. And you walk up on the south side of Route 2, past the existing parking lot, across the street to the town hall on a VTrans approved crosswalk. So that's going to deal with the pedestrian safety issue. The other problem is that the little parking lot that was dedicated for the town hall was really just for the town clerk's office, and it's a dead end. It's a little postage stamp, and so if you drive in there and it's full, you can't really back out onto Route 2. It's kind of a dangerous area. So the town, as a condition of a grant we got from Housing Conservation Board, required that we do a parking plan for the town hall, and the select board identified the property across the street, which as a likely candidate for increasing and improving the parking. So that came up for sale. The town entered a purchase agreement for it, and it was voted. It was approved at town meeting, but then there was a revote because there was a lot of unanswered questions about how much it would cost to build the parking lot, tear down the existing building, which has been abandoned, and then it was defeated. But in the meantime, the Friends of the Town Hall Opera House had been raising money to help the town buy the property. And when the vote went against it the second time, we approached the owners, and they agreed. In fact, just last Thursday, we had a closing, and we bought the property for less than they were offering it to the town, and they also financed it for us. And so they were very generous about wanting to help the town acquire the property for the Town Hall Opera House, because we really need it in order to make it a fully successful venue.
And how many places will the new parking lot have once that's all
Well, you
finished?
know, the existing lot has like 12 parking spots. With the new one, we'll probably have 32.
Okay.
But I think even more important, as we thought about it more and more, there's no place to drop people off or pick people up, and there's no driveway. And this will allow for a driveway, and a place to drop people off. And let's say the parking lot's full, which it will be full, because that's only enough spaces for an audience of 100, 150, and the town hall can hold 250 or 240. So let's say you're driving through there looking for a space, you can't find one, you drop your passengers off. They can then exit safely and go down into the lower village for other parking spaces.
I see. Okay.
It's really the need for a drop-off point. There's no place you can pull off the road safely. There's no, side of the road on Route 2 at that place.
Yeah.
You have to keep stopping, or you stop in the middle of the road, and we've seen it happen a lot. And the Friends of the Town Hall Opera House manage the town hall for the town under contract, and we've seen a lot of near misses and a lot of confused drivers trying to access the building, and they let their people out. They can't.
That's tough, and it's a fairly common thing in a lot of small Vermont towns where the village center, most of the buildings were built back in the horse and buggy days, and these issues just weren't there. Now you have people who want to get along in their cars, and they're supposed to be doing 30, I guess it is, through the village, and a lot of them do more than that, and so it creates an issue, and it's a fairly common thing. I think that old New England had smaller roads and slower roads and buildings very close to the roads, and didn't really worry too much about pull-offs and parking and all that sort of stuff.
This section of Route 2 wasn't paved until 1930. It was a dirt road.
Yep.
And and it wasn't a problem for people to get across that road at that time. But when it was paved, then it became a federal highway. The traffic has just increased enormously, and it's.
Now, at one time there was talk of a bypass that would go around Plainfield Village, I guess, to the north. Is that right?
Yeah, north into Marshfield. Yes, actually, it was voted. The Plainfield voters voted in favor of that. Marshfield didn't, and so it didn't proceed. And I think during that process, a lot of places on Route 2 were neglected. And I know, having been on the select board, the intersection of Main Street and Route 2 is a biggest headache probably the community has.
Yeah.
Coming up that rise, not being able to see clearly on Route 2 and having the curve, and that other little school street coming in. Actually, we were able to get VTrans to accept that as a major intersection improvement when I was on the select board, and they got an engineering study underway, which is going to make it a T intersection with a traffic light. But that's several years down the road, and we didn't want to wait for the state to move before we could safely get across Route 2, which is why we applied for that.
Do you think
Fed grant.
If the state project does get built and there's a T intersection with a traffic light there, that the pedestrian crossing might move over to where because they're very close, right?
It might.
Yeah.
It might move. Well, they're hoping to lower the island and eliminate the island.
Yep.
And then at that point, there could be a pedestrian crossing. The problem, well, they could have to build a sidewalk on the north side where it would cross, but they could do that no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that would. This crosswalk is going to be VTrans approved, 200 feet away from the curve for the adequate sight distance, and we're going to have a pedestrian activated signal, so cars will know when people are planning to cross, so it'll be a safe
Now, what
way to get across.
do you live right in the village or out in the hills somewhere in
It's
Plainfield?
a mile out of the village on
Okay.
the hill.
Yep. And so you probably deal with that intersection pretty much every day.
Every day, yeah.
And I'm sure that if and when it does get rebuilt and with T intersection or something in the next 5 years or something, it'll seem like a major milestone in your life, won't it?
Oh, yeah, I think so for the entire community.
Yeah.
I mean, when we did some research on it, we saw a picture from 1952 of a truck trying to navigate that intersection, and the select board called it Peekaboo Corner.
Yeah.
Because when you get up to the top of the hill, you have to really
crane your
crane
neck.
your neck to see, and
Yep.
a lot of people can't see over the guardrail, and they go north on Route 2 and to turn around and come south. So
Yep.
that's a big deal. I know the select board's monitoring it. I know Bram Tobin and I, he's the highway commissioner in Plainfield. When we were on the select board, we were monitoring it, and I'm sure it's going to be there. It's just going to take more time.
Yeah. Yeah. As these projects so often do. And
Yeah.
much to the.
But we had to deal with the safety of people crossing Route 2 right away.
Yep.
Or else, we'd be putting the town at risk, and people who wanted to go to the town hall at risk. So
Yeah. Can't have that.
Yeah.
So. Well, I want to thank you, David Strong, for coming by. Friends of the Plainfield Town Hall and Opera House. You guys have had a lot of work underway, more coming, and
Sure.
and I wish you the best of luck with it. It's great to see community members getting involved in this kind of problem solving and
Yeah. Well, that's the only way these things get done. And of course, we're now going to have to raise money, but we have a chance to do it over the next 1 or 2 years.
somebody's interested in donating. Is there a website where they can go and find
Yes,
out?
we have a website. The Plainfield Town Hall Opera House has a website.
What's
It's www.plainfieldoperahousevt.org.
PlainfieldOperaHouseVT.org.
Yes, we have you can make donations there on the site. We need to raise $50,000, $40,000 to pay off the mortgage, and $15,000 to remove the building.
Got it. Okay.
Thanks very
Again,
much.
David Strong, thank you very much.